Welcome back to the channel and another edition of Spurs Chat, where of course Tottenham have just qualified for the Champions League. Now we'll be discussing the Norwich game today. Of course, Spurs won 5-0 at Carrow Road. But before I get into it, have a listen of this. Oh, doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that feel good to hear that music again? Now, before I introduce my very special guest, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do hit that like button and that subscribe button. If you're listening to this on an audio platform, do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Now, it has been the perfect day for Spurs. Of course, Norwich 0, Tottenham Hotspur 5. Spurs have finished 4th in the Premier League. 2 goals for DJ Kulusevski today, a goal for Harry Kane, a brace for Heung-min Son, making him the Premier League's highest goal scorer, winning the Golden Boot. The fans are partying already. We are back in the Champions League, and Antonio Conte is a magician. Now, let's introduce our very special guest, returning to the show, actor Darren Hart. Darren, how are you?
I told you so.
You told me. All season, you told me.
All season. So I'm very happy right now. I'm very happy right now.
Very happy. Well, I know Ricky Champagne Norwood is very happy as well. Ricky, welcome back to the channel. How you doing?
I am buzzing, brother. I am buzzing. Oh my gosh, what a damn season. Top 4 Champions League. Play the damn music again. Wheel up and come again, because we are... Let's have it. Let's have it.
Sorry, it won't go off. And joining me for the first... I didn't even mean for that to happen. Joining me on the channel for the very first time, Rob Daly, of course, official Tottenham Hotspur commentator. Also, his work can be heard on the likes of ESPN, BT Sports, Sky Sports, and Premier Sports. Rob also presents the official UEFA Champions League radio show and podcast. Rob, welcome. How you doing?
Chris, thanks for having me. Good to meet the guys as well. And yeah, to finally get this done. I was supposed to come on the Burnley away game when it got snowed off, and then we had to cancel the show. So it's not a bad one to come on for, to be honest, to make my debut.
Absolutely. Rob, before we get into today's game, tell us what it's like commentating on Spurs week in, week out.
It's quite stressful, really, isn't it? I mean, it's so much fun. Like it's one of the best gigs I've ever had in my whole life, and it's good because you really. I was thinking about it today, like how much you like those players and how much you like that manager and how much you like that team. Because sometimes you might have players who do a job for you, but you know they're not the best kind of guy, or they're a bit of a dirty player or whatever. You just look at that whole team and you really do like them. And you could see with the way they celebrated Sonny's second goal in front of the away fans, how united they are, how happy they were for Son. Even Dejan Kulusevski, I think, tried to set him up for a tap-in to get, and then stumbled over to get him another goal in his Golden Boot race. So you have to love the team, and they deserve it. 4th best team in the country. I don't think anyone can argue with that. And it's a platform to build on. It felt like a crossroads that maybe Arsenal could have gone down that path, but it's Spurs going down that path now, and all feels very bright and exciting, doesn't it, really?
It does. I feel very excited. And I must say, the Spurs fans today in Norwich away end, even before the ball was kicked, even before the game kicked off, absolutely sensational, really were. Darren, let's come to you. Your thoughts on today's game?
Listen, the job was done. It was a beautiful way to end our season. I was apprehensive about the first 10, 15 minutes. So get a goal, settle the nerves. 60 minutes in and it happened. And happy days. It was a beautiful performance. It was a team performance. It was a Conte dual performance. It's the new Spurs performance. If you want to know what Spursy is, that's what Spursy is. Today, that's the new Spursy. Put that in your pipe.
I hate that term. Absolutely hate that term, Spursy. Surely, Darren, that term Spursy under Antonio Conte, it doesn't exist anymore.
Gone. It's gone. We're not that team anymore. As I've been saying all season, when people have said, "Are we getting top 4?" I said, "We are going to do it." There's a new mentality. There's a new idea. There's a new way. There's a new brand, and it's very clear what he's doing, and it's shown today. Top 4 was a dream, and it's now materialized. And now let's push on from this now. So let's, as I say, that's the last time we'll say that term, because it's no longer in our vocabulary. We'll have a new term for our neighbours, which I'm sure we'll find one for them, because they need to be identified and put in a little box on a Thursday night where they belong.
Well, the Spurs fans didn't stop singing that song as well. Ricky, let's come to you. Your thoughts on today's game?
Oh, bro. I mean, just next level. We went out there again, and like Darren was saying there, the mentality's gone. And the definition of Spursy, like Darren was saying just there, has now changed. You know, those last-minute goals, those Bergwijn last-minute goals, those last-minute winners, those getting across the line is now kind of Spursy. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a positive. We've spun this around. We have changed so much throughout this whole season to get to this point and to be able to raise a glass and just say, yes, we're back. When Conte signed for us, I said we are back. For us to be back this damn quickly, I can't believe it. It has knocked me sideways. There's many a times along the season that I felt that we had false dawns. We was getting there, then we'd lose a couple, or we'd draw a couple, or the performance would drop off a little bit. But all of those times that we did drop off, there was lessons learned. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of times the lessons are not learned, but they felt the pain. They learned by it. They got, they got angry about it. They got frustrated about it, and then they went to work. They didn't just moan. They went to work and put it right, so that we are now in the top 4 with Sonny as the top goal scorer. Do me a favor. I mean, even the amount of clean sheets that we've got this year, can you believe that we've got like a record amount of clean sheets? Like, what has happened this season? What has happened, mate? The game was phenomenal, bruv. They just went out there. They settled our nerves straight away. Do you know what I mean? The way that they was playing, the way that their chest was up, the way that their heads were in the game, and the way, like Rob was saying there, the way that they battled to kind of not only like get the result, but to put Sonny in for a couple of goals. You know what I mean? He could have got 4 or 5 today, the poor guy. I'm telling you, I am just super happy, bruv. We've done it. We got across the line. We done it, man. We done
Rick,
it.
you happy?
It doesn't matter. Am I happy? Goodness gracious. We done it. We could have played terrible and got the 3 points, but we done it today. We done it in style. 5 goals. Champagne Tottenham at Champagne Lane. As my boy Expressions always says, listen, we're back. Come on.
Rob, let's come to you. Did you expect today's performance and result?
Yeah, I think I did actually. I didn't think anything else was going to happen other than a win. Maybe it was done with a little bit more style than you'd expected, because it could have been like Ricky was saying, it could have been 8 or 9, couldn't it, if Tim Krul wasn't sort of at it for a load of Min-Son shots. But there has been a switch mentally in the team. I really do believe that something has changed. I know there was the Brighton result and the Brentford result where the initiative was handed back to Arsenal, but even the Thursday night North London derby, just the way the team that went about it, the maturity of the performance, even the whole Rob Holding situation, all of that, it was just different. And we spoke to Sonny on last Sunday, after the awards thing, and I was asking him about what Conte's done, and he just can't speak highly enough of what Conte's done psychologically to the team. It's almost what Mourinho was trying to do, but couldn't quite execute. I think Mourinho probably would have been able to do it to a team like that 5-10 years ago, but Conte probably just is that bit more of a modern coach, understands a little bit more. And I think we'll all look back to Turf Moor and what he did post-match as such a significant moment where I think he terrified the players that he was going to walk away. And then 3 months on, they look a completely different team to what we saw that night.
Rob, earlier on in the season, Antonio Conte said he's not a magician, but he is, isn't he?
He really is a special coach. You know, you'd probably have him in the top 5 or 6 in the world. I mean, I don't know what the game is. I mean, maybe you guys would put a finger on it, but it might have been City away. And I know Burnley came after City away, but something seemed to click in terms of the patterns of play that would lead to goals to score 3 that day. And then there was the off day at Burnley, and there was still Middlesbrough in the cup to come. But then those Everton, the Leeds, the Newcastle, the Villa, those big wins, the goals all had a similar Conte essence about them. the way he has improved players is completely insane. And I know he wants to buy players. There's no doubt about that. He'll want a load of new bodies. But the work he did with Matt Doherty, Emerson Royale, boosting Ryan Sessegnon's confidence, turned Eric Dyer into England's premier centre-back, maybe. I'd be amazed if he wasn't in the squad in June, because I don't think there's been anyone better than him in the country this year, from an England point of view. It's just it's a testament to coaching, really, what he's done. And the other thing is, I know I'm rambling on here, but the big calls in January to let those 4 guys go out and only bring 2 in, I thought the squad was too light. I was like, that's risky. I thought you could have at least held the Celso back, 3 in, 3 out. But they made the moves. Conte knew what he wanted. And even with the injuries at the end of the season, got it done. Unbelievable work. Really unbelievable. And it does make it really exciting for what you can achieve with a window, summer window, and a full season, full pre-season, the whole shebang.
Are the trophies coming, Rob?
I think it's very possible, yeah. I think this is just feels a bit different, doesn't it? I think, Spurs weren't far off winning a trophy last season in the League Cup. It was only a 1-0. It was only a 1-0 defeat. But yeah. I think Conte will be able to, when you've got Son and Cat. I mean, this is what it's easy to go on about how good they are, but they are absolute Premier League players. They're just like they get in any team nearly. And when you've got those to build that mentality around, I think absolutely Spurs should be in the running for trophies next season. No doubt about it.
Well, after Manchester City won today, they have won the Premier League title. Liverpool comes second, Chelsea third, Spurs fourth. So they are the 4 teams that are qualified for the Champions League. Qualifying for the Europa League, Arsenal and Manchester United. Qualifying for the Europa Conference League, West Ham United. And relegated from the Premier League, Burnley, Watford and Norwich. I bet you're glad that Watford have gone down, Rick, so you don't need to go back there. You ever turned up there in the first place. If you don't know that story...
What's this story? I don't know this story.
Oh, my gosh. Come on.
Well, this is where I was, at Vicarage Road.
Vicarage Road, yeah.
And this is where Ricky was.
Oh, my God.
Does that say it all?
Wait. Spurs had already played Watford at home by the time that game came round, didn't they?
Don't look for logic, Rob. It was the 1st of January, all right? It was the 1st of January. New Year's Eve was the night before, all right? Leave me at the car. You even got me on the Spurs pre-chat today with the boys, with Gary and boy. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
How does that even happen? How does that even happen, Ricky?
What?
Do you know that's one of the highlights of my season, that is.
Oh. At least he didn't turn up at Stadium MK or something like that. I mean, that really would have been the Spurs Watford humdinger.
Oh, mate.
Darren, let's come to you. Now, Tottenham starting 11 today. Hugo Lloris in goal. The back 3 of Sanchez, Dyer and Davis. Wing back Sessegnon and Emerson Royale. In midfield, Højbjerg and Bentancur. The forward 3 of Kulusevski, Heung-min Son, Harry Kane. It's what we all expected, really, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It's the 11 that he's got, that he trusts right now. They're the ones that are going to do the job for him with what he's got available. And they did exactly that. They did their job. And I think that is what I've been impressed by with this Conte Spurs as we've gone into the business end of the season, getting jobs done. No matter how the job needed to be done, we got them done. And I think that's been impressive. And the mentality has been mentioned there by Rob. And I think that's been really clear. Conte has been able to get into the heads of players that a lot of people have spoke about in the past that you couldn't change them. And what Conte has been ruthless in, and this is what I hope continues over this summer window, is going, this is the mentality of player that I want to work with. These players are not up to that. As much as they're lovely, as much as they're nice people, they have to go. And I think that is what that transfer window that we saw was beautiful, because there were players there, like we spoke about the Celso, and that we had, should they go? Should they not? I know a lot of people are, Dele's going. But Conte was like, this is my blueprint. This is how I work. And what we're seeing in that 11 that started today, That's his blueprint. You can see it from front to back. Everyone has got an idea, a thought, a process of what Conte wants them to do, and they're delivering it. Norwich did not stand a chance today. Tim Krul, of course, he was going to have a worldie. He always does. Costa was going to phone me. I could feel him about to ring me again. Look, he's having a worldie. I was like, all right, it's going to be fine. But you know what I mean? It was going to be one of those. But the performance, I trusted in the boys, and I think that's the beautiful thing about that 11 that Conte puts out. You can see he trusts them. And as fans now, we can start trusting them. And hopefully as we go into the new season, we can start relaxing into our seats a little bit more and enjoying the days when Chris can get his trophy. It's coming, Chris. It's coming.
Hopefully. Ricky, were you pleased with the starting 11?
Oh, yeah, of course, mate. Of course. That's our strongest 11. Like Darren was saying there, those boys have kind of... I mean, we know already from January, you know, Bentancur and Kulusevski, they've actually just changed the whole way we play. They've changed the dynamic. They've, you know, they're two soldiers that know Conte inside backwards. So for him to have two soldiers that know his system, that know his ways and implement it on the field, and by doing that, encourages the rest of the squad to like step up as well. It's been next level because, you know, he's the reason we're playing on Wednesday next season. He came with his mate from Sweden, Rodrigo Bentancur. Come on! Are you mad?
Hold on, Rick.
Mad?
Did I tell you though? Remember we done transfer day and people and ahhing and I said, trust what we've bought. Trust what we've bought.
Yes, and Simone, it was Simone that was killing me because I was excited. Chris was excited. Chris was trying to get it out of him. He tried 8 different ways to get a positive response out of him. And he was like, no, he's a bit like Bentancur. He's a bit like Winks. He's a bit like Winks. Are you mad? Are you mad? This guy is next level. Kulusevski, the way that he was climbing over people today. I'm talking about running past, but he was, oh my gosh. Are you joking? The team was fantastic today. They went out there. They've got the mentality. They've got the heart. They've got the drive. They've got the determination. They've done it all season. Well, especially from January. That Liverpool game that we played against, and we got the point just a minute ago. Oh my gosh, the way that they attacked that's when I 100% knew. I was just like, all right, cool. We could have won it at the end, but the way in which they played and the way that they were solid and the way that they were attacking and the way that they were patient and the way, all the things that Conte implements in his game was there. And I was just like, whoa, it's a night and day change. From Nuno, I can't believe Nuno was part of this club and this team this season, but wow, how much we've improved and how much we've changed. It's next level.
It does feel a very, very long season. Rob, I'd be really interested to get your views on the January transfer window because, of course, as you said there, when those players went out the door in January, you thought that we were a little bit light. Now, bringing in Bentancur and Kulusevski, what did you think of those signings? And when was the last time that you've seen Spurs signings hit the ground running like these pair have?
Was that for me, Chris? Sorry, my connection just dropped out for a second.
Yeah,
so was that for me?
Rob, yeah.
Well, sometimes January signings are really difficult and they almost never have an impact in the first 4 or 5 months. There are like a few rare cases, and I suppose Luis Diaz might be one for Liverpool. Van Dijk would have been one for Liverpool, but I think someone like Luis Suarez, that first 4 months was a bedding in period. And my gut instinct, I think I said it on the website, the Spurs website, when they signed, I thought Bentancur would be instant impact. I thought Kulusevski would be next season. There would have to be, he would have to work out the rules of how you get fouled and what constitutes a foul in the Premier League. And I knew that he wasn't the quickest from what I'd seen him in Italy. And I didn't know if it would take a bit of time to work out exactly what he could do in this team. It took about 4 minutes. It really is incredible. I mean, he only just turned 22. And Spurs, there's no way Spurs be in the Champions League now without them. They've been transformative signings, and it really does feel like Spurs robbed the bank at Juve. You know, clearly Conte knew them. Conte wanted Kulusevski at Inter, and then Bentancur was exactly the kind of player he wanted. It just felt like they really did a number on Juve. And I remember reading things in the time in the Italian press saying, Juve have done great to get that money out of Spurs for those 2 players. I know Kulusevski's on loan technically for now. Yeah. It looks like a bargain. Bentancur for 16 million quid. 16. 1-6. It's ridiculous. And then Kulusevski, or does that get to 30 million euros or something? I can't remember exactly. He looks like one of the best young players in Europe. I'm not excited. I mean, you look at the way climbing over people is such a good description, Ricky, of what he was doing. But that that ball where Kane put it down the line, he got a little nick off the defender, and then he set up Højbjerg, who hit over the bar. That was unbelievable play. So Spurs will do well to find a better forward than him to join the front three next season. I think that's the front three. But you need players of that calibre. Now, this is my thing with Bentancur. When Bentancur signed, even when Højbjerg signed, you're like, oh, at last the team's got that. It's so apparent that the team's been missing, and they need to sign players of that calibre. Bentancur's re-established control in midfield, and Spurs haven't had that for ages. I thought that was the prime problem with the team, that they never controlled games, and then Bentancur came in and just fixed it. Ridiculous. So 2 brilliant signings. Yeah. It's not impossible that one of the loanies comes back. I don't think it's impossible. I think it's improbable that Lo Celso comes back and finds a role in this team. Conte loaned out Ivan Perisic, I think, and then brought him back in for the title win. Perisic won the Champions League with Bayern and came back because Conte couldn't find a place for him in that 3-5-2 and then worked it out, turned him into a wing-back. Maybe Lo Celso could find a way back into the team. I certainly wouldn't write off Brian Hill. I don't know what's going to happen with Ndombele. It's tough to see him having a role next season. But Kulusevski and Bentancur, just transformative signings, just 2 of the best January. I can't think of better ones for Spurs. I genuinely can't.
Now let's talk about Heung-min Son. Of course, he has finished as the Premier League's highest goal scorer. Darren, what is left to say about this fantastic South Korean star of ours? He's simply incredible, isn't he?
We love him, and I'm glad that the rest of the world don't rate him as highly as we do. Because if we're talking about expensive strikers and who people should be looking to buy, he's up there. He's 2-footed. He's an absolute team player. He's a phenomenal athlete, and he plays football with a smile on his face. He loves being out there. And what I love more than anything else, he loves being at Spurs. And that there is the golden ticket, because he's got no ambition to go anywhere else. He doesn't his head ain't being turned in any direction, because he is phenomenal, and I'm so glad. If my memory's right, I did say he was going to get 2 today and get the golden boot. Just watch the last episode, people. I'm sure I said that too. So I'll put it out.
I said it as well.
You backed me, Chris. You were with me. I felt you. And I'm glad he got it, because there's been so much talk in the past of Harry Kane's FC and all of that jazz, and we're a one-man team, and when Kane's there, no one scored the goals. That, again, this is what I mean about this beauty of this Conte era that we're going into. Everything's been shut down. That conversation there is shut down. He was top goal scorer. Harry Kane, no, he wasn't. Son was. So you can't tell me we haven't got another striker. You can't have that conversation with me, because now we have the facts to prove it. It's beautiful. We are compact and packed to go forward. Son, I love you, my son. Big up, my son. My guy. All day long. All day long.
Ricky, the interaction between Heung-min Son and the fans today, even when he scored his first goal, but in particular the second goal, was simply incredible. He was so happy. You could see it.
Yeah, bro. He wanted it. You could see how much he wanted it throughout the game. And, like Rob was saying there about the saves from Tim Krul, of course, Krul will always pull out a worldie when he's playing us. But I'm just glad he didn't, pull out worldies when we scored 5 times. Do you know what I mean? But, bro, the way that Sonny loves Tottenham, Mr. Vega, Ramon, he calls him Mr. Tottenham. And you know what? Sonny is, mate. When he signed that contract in the summer, when we were Titanic FC, when we were sliding so far down, we didn't know we lost our identity. We lost the way to play. We lost the way to win. We lost the excitement. When Darren's there talking about trust, do you know what I mean? Like, under Pochettino, I didn't care who we faced. I trusted Poch and I trusted the team to go out there and fight to the end. And if we didn't win that game, I know that we would at least have competed in that. But we lost our way so much that for Sonny to sign that contract when he did, with the Kane kind of, speculation, and we didn't know whether he was going to stay or not, or whether he was going to Man City, or for him to sign that contract and commit to us, again, showed us all, every single one of us fans, how much he does love the club and how much he does want to take us back to the top. And so for him to step out of Kane's shadow today and get that golden boot was phenomenal. I am so happy for him. I wanted him to score more. I was so like, when Krul saved that shot, man, off of Sonny, I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, he, like I said, he could have had a hat-trick or 4 or 5, but he just deserves it for the amount of super important goals that he scored. And you got to remember that there was criticism. There was a point in which someone was having a little bit of a dip, and there was some fans that were criticizing him a little bit. And look, when players don't play well, it's okay to criticize them, because I know that we all love them. Do you know what I mean? The critique doesn't come from a place of hate. It comes from a place of love, because we want them to do as well as we want them to do.
That's a really good point, because I believe that every single Spurs player this season has been heavily criticised. Because, you know, let's face it has been a very up and down season. Yes, it's finished so well, but every single player has been heavily criticised. So it's so great that it's turned out this way, hasn't it? And Antonio Conte, as Rob said, he has improved every single player since November.
Every single player. Look at Højbjerg today. Do you know what I mean? Again, monster. Dyer. Who put the ball over for Bentancur? That was
Højbjerg.
Was it Højbjerg? This is what I'm talking about. Look at that vision right there. Everyone, you know, listen, Bentancur done tremendous to run at the time that he did, and to get into that space, and then to find Kulusevski at that point. But the ball over the top, oh my gosh. Into space, saw the run, responded to it. This is what I'm saying. We're a different side now, man. We are back. We are back. And I love Sonny to bits. I'm so happy that he got that cherry on the cake today as well. Like, oh my gosh. The sky's the limit now. I am super excited. Rob, honestly, I know it's your first time, my friend. I'll normally give some insights, but today I'm just buzzing, bruv.
You're giddy. You're positively giddy.
I normally have something that is, you know, it sounds all right, but I'm just buzzing today. So I'm going to ramble and I'm going to buzz.
I love it.
And I'm going to have a couple more of these as well, let me tell you.
It should be, though, 5-0. 5-0 secure Champions League. I mean, I bet there were fans this morning waking up feeling a bit edgy. I mean, Norwich had won 5 games all season, 5 of their 37. But you do well to find a Spurs fan who didn't a little bit think Timber Pukki could score and they could close shop and frustrate, and you hear the goals pinging in from the Emirates. It wasn't inconceivable. But there was enough of a pattern in the opening 5-10 minutes to maybe think there's loads of space. There's so much space for Son and Kane and Kulusevski. You just knew that Norwich they can't hunker down. They would have worked out to do that earlier in the season under Dean Smith. They were just all open. The other thing with that Bentancur goal, Ricky, assist that eventually was an assist, have you seen it back yet, mate? No, you haven't seen it. Where Bentancur gives it and then just bolts inexplicably 50 yards up the pitch to get the pass. It was absolutely brilliant. Just worked it all out. But it was a brilliant performance. And I think Son is just getting better all the time. I don't understand how he keeps improving. And I think back to the City game, really. I did think back to pre-season. I was trying to work out the first pre-season. I missed Orient, but I was at Colchester. Was that game 2, Chris? I feel like you're the person to ask it. Yeah, was that pre-season game 2, Colchester?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was Colchester and then it was MK Dons, wasn't it? Yeah. I think that was the way round we did it. Yeah. And I was up in the gantry and then Sonny turned up and I was like, he's back. He was back too early. I think he came back. I feel like Sonny in pre-season came back almost unnecessarily early, that he didn't have to because of when he'd been playing South Korea. But there he was in North Essex, like linking up with Carter Vickers and all that, you know, doing the business. So unbelievable commitment to the team. And I genuinely think even if he hadn't got that golden boot, he wouldn't have been too gutted. I think, you know, Darren, it was like wanted Champions League because he deserves to be playing in it.
I tell you, go on, Darren.
That's the thing Robert just said. Son is so Mr. Tottenham. He sacrificed his self-achievement for the greater good of the side. And I think that's something that is overlooked in professionals nowadays. So many professionals are about what they're getting paid and what they're achieving individually. Son has never done that. Like you said, pre-season, he's coming back early to go, the team needs me. I need to be around. I need to get sharp quickly so I can hit the ground running. And that's him being selfless. And that's an amazing professional. And that's what I mean. People underrate that attribute in a footballer, especially in this modern day of football. And I think Son he's Mr. Professional. He epitomizes what it means to put on a shirt and be proud to wear that badge. And he so is. And like you said today, every fan was willing him to get that golden boot. Whether he wanted it for himself or not, we wanted it for him. And I think that's beautiful. And that shows where we're at as a club as well. We appreciate, as Ricky said earlier, we don't criticise because we don't like them. We want the best for them. And today was a real testament of that. Every Spurs fan was willing some to get to. And then when we heard Salah got one, we wanted him to get the extra one. And
well, that was it. They started singing, didn't they? Sonny's song, like, "Oh, you need to score another," kind of thing, which was just brilliant. Club's lucky to have him. Club's very lucky to have him.
Absolutely, we are very lucky.
I love that he took up the responsibility by coming back early in pre-season, because, you know, him being friends with Kane and you know, he's a friend of everybody. He would have known. He's interested in what's going on and what's happening where. And I think he came back and took the responsibility and going, you know what, if Kane goes, I need to make sure that I'm right. I need to make sure that I'm here. If the burden then gets put on my shoulders to score goals, okay, cool. Let me make sure that I'm right. And I mean, I might have got it wrong, but didn't he score the winner against Man City first game of the season?
Yeah, first game. Yeah. And then he scored the winner against Watford. So it went City, Son, Wolves, Delhi, Watford, which was the home game, Ricky. Watford.
Oh, Rob, man. Oh, Rob.
Sorry.
Rob knows the pattern now. He knows.
I mean,
I've worked it out. But that was Son as well, wasn't it? That free kick that he curled in. I mean, he was just dragging the team through games in those opening weeks, because it was weird, wasn't it, winning those opening 3 games? But you sort of didn't have a little feeling like, oh, this feels a bit weird. Like the team doesn't seem to be brilliant, but they're winning.
Yeah, that was a very weird time. And as Chris alluded to earlier, that does feel like light years ago. It was like a very different team, a very different atmosphere. But like you say, I joked at that point of like, because we were winning by default. It was a weird situation. We didn't look great. The system didn't look like anyone knew what it was, and we were getting over the line. And then we were top of the league. You know what I mean? It was all very weird, and our neighbours were falling apart at the wayside. It was like, what is this? What is this weird universe we're in right now? And as the dust settled, we could all see where we were. And I'm just forever thankful that El Sacico went our way, because that game there, we talk about moments in our season. If we had grinded out a result against Man United and Conte ended up that side of the world and not our side of the world, who knows what kind of world we'll be in right now. So I'm very glad that El Sacico went the way it went, because I never want to see my team lose. But at that point, I was like, something has happened. This point, we're right on that edge, and I'm glad that what happened, because I could not be happier right now. I could not be happier. Thank you, Conte.
And let's look at the difference between those 4 London derbies that we had at the beginning under Nuno that we lost, right? And the way in which we played, especially against the Gooners, where Carragher done the Monday Night Football and he laid it out how big, open, and how much space that we just left in the middle of the park. You know, we had 5 up front, 2 in defence. I was like, what is this? What is this? You know, to go from that to where we are now, to go from that Gooner game to the Gooner game, on Thursday, the other day, like, it's a different side. I did not expect us to be here. I knew that Conte was the man. I knew that he was the one that was going to hold the ball to account. I knew that he was the one that was going to shake and wake up those players in that squad. But I didn't expect the performances and the levels that they've been pulling out. You know, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like for me, like, and Dal, you said this the other day as well, but I totally agree. It's like, for me, yes, Dyer, the whole squad, there's been an improvement. But you look at Davies. Davies, who was like within the top 2-3 of players that us Tottenham fans would want sold in the summer, or wouldn't mind if he went. And then the performances he's put in since Conte's turned up, it's been next level. He's been solid as a rock. Like the amount of blocks that he put in for Liverpool, he nearly scored today as well. Like what Conte has done has been next level. And like you said, Rob, earlier about the testament to coaching, let's look at the difference between Nuno's coaching, Nuno's Tottenham and Conte's Tottenham, night and day. What was that like? What was that like for you, Rob, when you was commentating? Could you see the difference as well happening as soon as Conte came in?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, the Vitesse game was mad, wasn't it? The 3-2.
Yeah.
And it felt like they sort of blitzed 3 goals in straight away, and you're like, oh, this is interesting. And then the team did their thing where they sort of unravelled a little bit, and Romero got sent off, and it all went a bit chaos. And I think Vitesse finished with 9 men from memory, I think. Yeah. But they managed to get over the line. There were moments in games where you saw things happen. I almost feel there was one goal where there was a goal where everything changed, and it was and I know you might look at the Liverpool 2-2 and all those games where Spurs started playing Conte's brand of football, but I felt the Kulusevski goal at City was like that's it, because not only was it like Kane, Son, Kulusevski doing this amazing stuff, they played out from the back. It wasn't a counter attack. It was play around the press and go. And then this was when Spurs were getting a lot of praise as being a counter-attacking team, which felt like a bit of a nod to Mourinho's Spurs. Because that's what we said about Mourinho's Spurs, wasn't it? Counter-attack, sit, Son and Kane, bum, bum, bum. And then Conte posted a video on his Instagram. Do you remember this? Where he said, he posted footage of the goals, and he said, counter-attacks, in inverted commas, and every single one of these attacks was playing out from the back. And I think that's the thing, that this is the major difference. I was trying to work out this bit of a theory about what happened in that Mourinho era, and there was such a concession of the ball to the opposition. And Mourinho would argue it's control. He had the opposition at arm's length and then would score. But the team then forgot how to play with it when they did try and play with it. That there were too many games where there was just such a lack of control in midfield, nervous passing, just out for a throw-in, and then Conte just somehow fixed it. Bentancur was a major factor in that. I don't doubt that. But then this ability to play around the press has been major, because then the Liverpool 1-1, you saw at Anfield how effectively Spurs can play around Liverpool are the best team in the world for it, pressing the edge of your penalty area. They would just bing, 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 round the press and out. And then when Arsenal tried it, I thought, well, this is going to be no problem. Spurs did this against Liverpool. And Arsenal are a very good pressing team, but nowhere near Liverpool's level. And then sure enough, bang, 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 pass around them. That has been the thing for me. It's this ability to play out and also then play these quick passes and everything. It's just so Conte. It's just such a Conte team. It's and I think we all know that if there are improvements in certain positions, and I don't know if I know Chris said this was going to be a bit of a season review and whether we get to this kind of thing, but he'll want new wing backs. I don't know who survives the cull out of the 4, but he'll want new wing backs. He'll want another centre back at least, and he'll want another 2 forwards, I think, and probably another central midfielder. It's a lot. I don't think he'll get all that. I think he'll get 4 of them, kind of number. But it really does feel like it's happening, doesn't it? I mean,
I think it's so interesting, some of the things you just highlighted there, Rob, like about what people viewed Spurs' way of play, that counter-attacking view that people had already kind of gone down, oh, it's a blueprint we've seen before, so we know this isn't going to work. Spurs can't do this. And I think it's been amazing to see, as we said, the Conte blueprint and him being very vocal and going, no, don't box me there. This is what I'm doing. Observe. Yeah. This is the way we're doing it. And Bentancur also, you're right. I said it when he came, because myself, Ricky, Chris, we was on the transfer deadline show. And I spoke about Bentancur being the brain in the middle that we've missed. We needed a general in there. And just his first game alone, just watching him, I said, just watch his hands. Don't watch his feet. Watch his hands. When he's not even in possession, he's pointing. He's telling the person with the ball where to put the ball. And it's amazing to have that on the football field, because if you can't see the pass, he can. And he's giving you the guidance. And we had players that were ready to do that. And I think it's interesting that our neighbours have filmed the Amazon Prime All or Nothing this season. And yes, timing is everything in life. Timing is everything. And I think
it will be great viewing. I mean, it'll be an unbelievable. It will be an unbelievable documentary. I'm sure they were thinking it was going to build to this crescendo whereby they get back in the Champions League. Obviously, it hasn't panned out. It hasn't panned out, And I think we'll all be watching with great interest. I'm
probably going to watch the last 40 minutes. I think that's where the goal is going. Just from the Derby game onwards, just to see what happens there.
I'm going to watch the highlights on YouTube. I don't think I'll be tuning in. There's nothing for me to see. You know what I mean? They say all or nothing, and there's nothing for me to see. So I think I'll just wait for the YouTube highlights.
The joke I was asking, though, is could you imagine if it was our season to have it all or nothing? Like, I would have loved to been able to see it through the eyes of the camera of that Conte evolution. Because Rob, you made a good point about the game where Conte was like, I'm out, like I'm leaving, I'm done. And we spoke about this at length, myself and Ricky, and I was talking about Conte is so passionate. And sometimes that passion just spills out and he says it how he wants to. And then I started to really reevaluate, because obviously being on the show last game of the season, Conte spoke about Champions League right from the get-go and said, if we get it, it's a miracle. And we've already called him the magician. I think if we had a camera in there, I think Conte put that benchmark out there and said, that's what I want. That is what we're going for. It's not a magician thing. It's not magic. That is what we can achieve. If you follow what I want you to do, if you follow my lead, that is what we get. And I think you saw everyone buying into it and you saw the confidence grow. The more it became clear that it was an option. It was viable. It was in their hands. And then when we fully had it in our hands today, I had no doubt in the boys. And I think that there shows a complete change in mentality. And we've had a lot of times when we as Spurs fans have watched our team crumble, watched it, and not even just in the football sense, but in the mentality sense. We've watched their heads get blown. We've watched them fall apart, self-destruct, make the mistake. We go, what were you thinking? What are you doing? Don't get me wrong. A magician eradicates all of that. That's why he's not a magician. We will have moments like that in football, because that is football. However, the likelihood, the chance, the percentages are getting smaller. And that is a beautiful thing to see, that the players now are trusting themselves, trusting each other. They're buying into this new way of working, which Conte has completely changed. And I think it's there that he's changed more than anything. And I think that mentality change is phenomenal to see. And all I ask as well now, and this is the biggest one, is that we as fans, we do that to ourselves too. Let's go into the season with the positive energy rather than taking in that old line that gets put around our name and then we carry that. Let's go in with the optimism. Let's go in with the passion, and let's make our stadium the fortress it needs to be, because we have the Champions League there.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. How do you think he's changed his defence? Rob, Darren, how do you think he's changed? How do you think Conte's changed the defence from when Nuno had it to when he's taken over it? Because, you know, Nuno originally, he came from like a back three system, but he decided not to do that when he came in. He wanted the back fours. And, you know, to be fair to Sanchez and Dyer at the time, the first 3 games, they were doing all right. Do you know what I mean? But what do you think has been the biggest thing that he's changed, Conte has changed with the defence from Nuno's era to where we're at right now?
I think like a big thing is that the system itself reduces the chance for individual error. That there were so many games last season and goals conceded that you could point at one player and go, that was you. And there were a lot of them were Eric Dyer, a low cross into the box. You know, it's his ball, not Lloris's. He leaves it. You know, the Liverpool player scores or whatever. But the system is set up now in a way whereby there is almost no chance for someone to get stuck one-on-one with a forward and run at. These instances feel so rare. I mean, the team's conceded 1 goal in its last 5 away games, and that was a deflected goal to Liverpool. Conceded 5 goals in the last 11 games. And I think it was you saying, Ricky, about the clean sheets, or you down? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It finished with 16 or 17 clean sheets. I think it was 16. I also found that really interesting. Like, I thought Eric Dyer's passing. So Eric Dyer's, you know, Toby's big diagonals were missed, weren't they? When Toby left, you missed that big ping out to the right hand side and and everything like that. And I thought Dyer didn't have that range of passing in him. But we now see so much of the play goes through Dyer, like a lot, and he will hit those big diagonals. I was thinking, why couldn't he hit those before? I don't understand. But the team is set up to stretch the pitch so much that those passes are a lot more simple. So he's not giving it away. It's the wing back stretching the play, and there's just been so many little tweaks to the system. And really, Ricky, it's like a great point about Nuno playing a back 3. I was thinking about why didn't he do it, and maybe he didn't want to get typecast as trying to bring a Wolves system to Spurs, because it's like, you're right. This is a different level now. You need to play more expansively and just in Poch here. You know, you need to play something better. So maybe he got nervous on that respect. Also, at the start of the season, barely only the centre-backs were around. I remember that specifically. Eric was around, and then it was Carter Vickers, and then there was lads from the academy, and that was it. So maybe
Tanganga.
Tanganga was around. He was coming back from injury, and maybe he just thought, I don't have enough players to play this, because if one of them gets injured, and I'm not going to go into the season with Carter Vickers as one of my back three in the Premier League. So there was probably a myriad of reasons why he didn't do it. He probably would have had more joy, but I mean, you could probably write a thesis on what happened in those opening 10 games and try and work out exactly why Nuno didn't work. But ultimately, he probably wasn't the caliber of manager that Kane and Son needed. You know, you need that next level.
What do you think, Dal?
I think a lot of what Rob said, I totally agree with. And also, what I saw, once the system was changed, what he also allowed is players being able to play in a way that, hey, the government's back in the building. That's a nice new location.
Half-time break. He just needed a half-time break, people. That's all he needed. He's back now. He's back.
He went toilet. That's all he did. He just went toilet.
I'm so sorry. My battery ran out. We bring Rob on. We bring the professional on, and Rob, this is not how it's normally done. So sorry about that.
Oh, no, you got the backboard. You look a pro to me. I wouldn't worry about that. That's pretty slick.
Have we discussed the goals?
No,
we haven't discussed the goal. We were just talking about the defense and how much it's changed from Nuno's time to Conte's time. So Darren was just jumping in on the wing backs just then.
We just done a little review, just how we felt we've played, and just looking at the transformation of Conte and what he's done to us. So yeah, we just kept it light. We know you have your structure, Chris. We know what you do. We leave it in your hands. So you know what? Just to tie up this whole defensive change, because you adapt to, is I think what Conte was able to do is he created a system that, one, he looked at the characters that he had available, because I think Rob's exactly right. When Nuno started, I don't think he had all the right pieces of puzzle in the back three that he would have wanted. So he went back four because he was going safe. What Conte does, he doesn't go safe. He goes, you're going to play it my way, and you're going to learn to play it my way, and you're going to learn quickly. And I think that was also that forceful nature, that empowering nature of going, do it, you're good, trust me, do this. And when you watch Conte on the touchline, he's coaching you through every moment. So if you're in doubt, he's shouting at you, he's telling you what to do, he's guiding you. And I think when you're defending, I think sometimes defending looks difficult when you haven't got an out ball. And like we spoke about, Eric Dyer always looking for that big diagonal and it not working, because we were playing so flat against ourselves. Everyone was too close. So there was no out ball. The diagonal ball was null and void because no one was there. So I think what started to happen was, as Conte empowered everyone to play their natural game and spread the pitch, when you picked it up as a centre-half, you looked up and there was an option. And when you have an option, you play a pass. Also, what Bentancur has done amazing in Højbjerg is that they turn and face their centre-halves. And we stopped doing that. I love Winks as a human being, not as a footballer. What he does is he doesn't want it. He turns away from the ball. So when you look at him and all you can see is his number, you don't know where to pass the ball. So that is what the evolution happened, and that's why we changed. So Chris, all yours.
Rob, let's come to you. We bring on a professional commentator. I would like you to talk us through the goals, if you'd like.
So goal one, just a horrible big gap in Norwich's defence. I think Sam Byron gets drawn out by Son, or gets drawn in field, and then Bentancur has that big old gap. Surprised Bentancur didn't shoot. I know it was such an obvious shot that I thought, no, you're allowed to shoot now. You can do it. You can do that. And it nearly went wrong. He did get it to Kulusevski. So that was, and then Tim Krul tried to play out from the back. Awful error from him. Gave the ball to Bentancur. Great little ball in from Bentancur, I thought, to clip it into Kane for the diving header. Goal 3, unbelievable from Kulusevski. Just, I mean, what a finish. After sort of having that, he was getting mocked by the Norwich fans after scuffing that one to the goal line, and then he curled it top corner. And then Sonny did his thing, and then his last goal was just, him in a nutshell, wasn't it, really? How many of those goals have we seen from him? Right foot, left foot. Ridiculous goal. One of his best this season. Norwich were just so open, disorganised, had loads of injuries, all the rest of it. But it was easy. It was easy, wasn't it, really?
Rob, of course, Heung-min Son has finished as the Premier League's highest goal scorer this season. For you as a commentator, what's been your favourite commentary on Heung-min Son goals this season?
Oh, that's a good one. Probably opening day. I mean, we were just talking about it when you weren't here, Chris, we were going back to the early days and what Son did when he stepped up as the centre forward in the team. And Nuno was saying, I don't really want to use him as a centre forward, but he sort of had to because there was no one else really to do that role. Probably that City goal. I mean, there's been better goals and there's been more, like North London derby goals and all the rest of it. But his goal at Anfield and everything, but probably that. Because opening day was euphoric, wasn't it? There was all the Harry Kane narrative. He wasn't in the matchday squad. He had just spent 100 million quid on Jack Grealish. He started. There was all this. And then Son stepped up and delivered that. Probably, from Son's point of view, I'd probably go his first goal, probably, of the season. Because it was brilliant moment.
Yeah, and of course, all the fans back in the stadium as well.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, the atmosphere was crazy. That was crazy. I mean, that was probably the best I could remember it from going back to the City Champions League quarter final, and then that probably still was the best I could remember it up to the North London derby the other night, where it felt like the place was on fire. It was like it was unreal, wasn't it? 10 days ago. And let's not forget, 10 days ago, Arsenal were a win away from getting in the Champions League. Like that, that sort of sums up like what a mad week and a half it's been that Arsenal just had to win that game and it's all over. With 2 games to go. And then suddenly all this has happened since. It's just unbelievable. And Son's a major reason for that, of course. He scored so many decisive goals this season.
Rob, be 100% honest with me here. When Antonio Conte come in on the 1st of November, did you think that Spurs were capable of finishing in the top 4?
No, I didn't. I thought it would be Man United, actually. I did. What I thought would happen was they'd work it out eventually. That they'd spend. Let's not forget they signed Varane, they signed Ronaldo, they signed Jadon Sancho. That's 3 premier signings you make. Varane's a generational centre back. Jadon Sancho, one of England's 2 or 3 best talents, and then some would say the greatest of all time, who then did deliver. Ronaldo did deliver for Manchester United, and I thought they'd work out eventually, and they'd just have enough. Let's not forget after the 3-2, weren't they miles ahead of Spurs? The 3-2 at Old Trafford. I thought, my other thing with the top 4 thing was that there were too many teams in it that Spurs had to go above. If it was one team and the gap was 7 points, it's not inconceivable you catch them. But for West Ham, Man United and Arsenal to all fall away, felt like a lot had to happen for Spurs to get 4th. But ultimately, I think they have proved they're the 4th best team in the country. There's work to get to Chelsea, and there's unfathomable work to get to the 2 who battled it out for the Premier League title today. But it feels like that gap doesn't feel as big as it did, and Conte's the reason.
Rob, how would you sum up Antonio Conte's time at Spurs so far?
It's interesting because he's obviously associated as a Juventus manager, and then he went to Inter and he's not really liked there anymore. And then he was an ex-Chelsea manager, but no one thinks about him as an ex-Chelsea manager like we thought about Mourinho. That's fair, isn't it? Like everyone was singing Antonio's name and had the Italian flags out, game 1. So he could make this his club, really. His managerial club. If he truly transforms his club, it would be elite status. I think what he's done so far is elite. And he's done. I know Tuchel won the Champions League with Chelsea last season to take over in the January. I think the job that he's done is just as good as that in that 6-month period to get more out of these players, to change the mentality, the whole shebang is elite. I'd use the word elite, Chris, if I could.
Yeah. Well, Darren, let's come to you. Same question, because Antonio Conte, it wasn't long ago that he actually said if we finish 4th, it would be like winning the Champions League. This is huge to him and our football club, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely huge. And it was what, as I said to the guys, as I said to you before, Chris, I believe that he put that on the wall and said, that is what we can achieve. If you back me, if you believe in me, and you walk the line with me, we can get there. And we have. And I think it's tremendous what he's done. And the transformation in every player and in every department. And I think that, as I was saying, I wish that we had the fly on the wall to watch the transformation behind closed doors, to see what he does, because I feel he's a master at his craft. And when you talk about managers, as we've alluded to, he is up there as the top 5. And I think when Rob spoke about when Conte came in that period of time and looking at the league, you asked me those questions early on, Chris, where do I think we finish? I kept saying top 4. And a lot of people kept doing wide eyes like Darren Reed. And I was like, my theory behind it was always the same. Man United, Arsenal, West Ham, none of them look stable. We have a manager, if he gets that stability that I believe he can, it's there to be taken. It's right there up to the grabs. Let's believe in it. Let's put the energy into it and let's make it happen. And he has. And I think that's the beauty of what he's done with the players that he's been able to mould. Give him more. Give him the real gems that he's after. Give him more time. And as we say, catching the top 2 is crazy talk. Like, I'm not going to start doing that to myself. But what I can do is start going, there's trophies out there that we can win. There is a legacy that can be built that is celebrated by fans around the world, where Conte is being sung because he's won X, he's won Y, he's brought a consistency. We've made our home ground an absolute fortress, and no one wants to come there for a season. Like, there's so many things that he could do if he gets it the way he wanted to get it. And that's why it's been tremendous turnaround and tremendous manager.
Well, here is the confirmation that Spurs have finished 4th in the Premier League today. Ricky, let's come to you. Now, straight after the game, Antonio Conte in the press conference said, I'm a person who has ambition and I like to fight for something important to lift a trophy. I'm very happy, then we will see. I've always said at the end of the season, I'll speak to the club and we will find the best solution. What do you think that means?
I think that means he plays the strategy poker game, bro. That's what he does. It's one of the things that I've said since he's turned up is that he holds the board to account. So he's going to say right now, look at where we was when I turned up and look at where we are right now. You know, and not only he doesn't want to go for top 4. I know Darren was talking about putting up top 4, you know what I mean, on the board in the changing room. But I said it and I knew that it was crazy to say, but as soon as Conte turned up, he wasn't looking at top 4, he was looking at the league. And regardless of how many points we were behind Man City or Liverpool, he was like, okay, what do I have to do to get up there? He's looking there. And then if we fall short, all right, cool. Top 4, fantastic. We can keep it moving. Right now, what he's doing is making sure that the board recognize the work that he's done, recognize how far he has taken the team within 6 months, and recognize when you give him 2 tools out of the toolbox, what he can do. So what happens when you give him, you know what I mean, the drill and the Dremel and the lathe and the triangle? Do you know what I mean? What happens when you give him a triangle box of tools? I don't know. You know that square? It's a square, but it's a triangle. It's like that. It's like, anyway, I'm an actor. I'm not in the building trade. It's a good job you're not on Rob's commentary team, isn't it? Listen. Oh my gosh. But no, he's transformed everything, bro. So he's making sure that he gets what he's promised. He's making sure that the board are not just talk, but their action. Do you know what I mean? And that's all he's doing. He's strategizing the same way that he strategizes within the press conference after Burnley, and he scared the players. Do you know what I mean? Or he scared the board that, you know what, maybe I'm not the guy. Maybe you need to hire somebody else. To get the response that we've had since that point has been next level. And he's just going to continue to do that same thing. Also, Chris, just to let you know, I don't know whether you know, but supposedly there's a couple of people in the waiting room and they're waiting to speak to you. I'm just letting you know. There's a couple of people in the waiting room and they're waiting to speak to you because they want to know. They want to know about your game experience. They want to know about your broken fingers. They want to know about how it was in the stadium.
I didn't send any more links out.
No, I know. I know you didn't, Chris.
Before I bring them in, I just want to ask Rob. Rob, what is Antonio Conte here for? Because we all know, and I get excited every single year. Whenever a new season starts, I think this is the year. This is the year that we're going to win a trophy. I speak about trophies on this channel every single day. I bore the hell out a lot of the listeners and viewers talking about trophies that never seem to come. I'm always really positive. I always say that Spurs are going to win a trophy this year. Now, under Antonio Conte, when we have seen what he has delivered, coming in early November, taking over from Nuno, what do you think is possible for him to achieve at this football club?
Well, I think from his point of view, I think he will be thinking in terms of league titles. I don't think he would. He has no interest in anything less. And he said this over and over again. It's not like I'm just sort of extrapolating this from comments he's made. He's over and over again said, this thing fighting for top 4. No, he did buy into it. He set the goal early April, articulated it publicly for the first time. He said he had to put pressure on the squad and say we're going for the Champions League. So he did that, and that's paid off. But he doesn't like that. He doesn't want to do that. He wants to win league titles, and he's going to be building the squad thinking, how can I get this closer to Liverpool and City? Liverpool have shown it can be done, by the way. There's no, state-owned investment fund that owns Liverpool at the moment that's giving them £100 million to sign on players all the time. They spent a lot of money, but there is a way to do it. Liverpool are probably the blueprint to follow. And with signings like Romero and Bentancur and Kulusevski, all under 24, that's the right profile of signing to be making. But he'll be thinking in terms of league titles. He won't be thinking it'd be nice to finish 4th again and win the League Cup. There's no way. I don't think he'd stick around if he got the vibe from the club that was worthwhile, if that was the club's goal.
Yeah.
When that meeting takes place next week, Rob, what do you think that Antonio Conte will be asking the board for?
Oh, I'm not invited for reference to that meeting. I know I work for the club, but I don't get to sit in on that one.
Or what do you think if you were Antonio Conte, what would you be asking for?
I think he has to be realistic about what he's going to get in terms of players, and I think you don't this like have a overhaul and a clear out, and this never happens in football. There's no example of a club selling 6 and bringing in 6 and being better. There's none. I mean, you might find 1 or 2, but it doesn't exist. So realistically, 4 in, 4 out, I think, in terms of players. And now it's Europe. He probably does want a bigger squad, so maybe he doesn't want all those players out. Maybe some of those like Doherty and Winks and Bergwijn. I mean, I don't foresee Bergwijn staying necessarily because of the way he's been talking publicly about his Spurs future, but I think he will have to go into it realistically that he's not going to get 6, 7, 50 million pound players. He's going to get 4 for 40 million. But they could, him and Paratici, I really believe could do brilliant things together. I think they'll get brilliant things done. So that's what I think if he's being realistic with it, it's like, I want Messi. That's not that you necessarily want Messi at the moment, but that is going to happen. I think he's going to be realistic about what he gets and doesn't get out of the club. But I think there's good free transfers around, and I think he'll work the market. He doesn't care about older players, does he? He doesn't care. Angel Di Maria, free agent. These guys. I don't think these things are impossible.
I believe that he will want some experience in his squad as well, Rob. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing. I don't think. I mean, he's signing players like Ashley Young and Alexis Sanchez, not necessarily to be regular starters for Inter, but players who've been around a lot of success, and I think he'll want that. I'm sure he likes having all these young players who are easier to mould, maybe. But the club link with like Perisic and who just keeps going, and I think he'll want these experienced players. But fundamentally, priority 1 is backup centre forward. And not necessarily backup, second centre forward. Or say second centre forward. When Lautaro Martinez was rumoured, I was like, that's what you want. You want a strike partner for Kane, not like a Vinicius or Vincent Janssen So I think centre forward, another centre back, another central midfielder, and 1 or 2 wing backs, I think is what will be the
Rob, just very quickly, because I've said this on this channel throughout this season. One of the last players that I got really, really excited about us signing, world-class player at the time, Jurgen Klinsmann back in '94. When was the last time you really got excited about signing for Spurs?
That's the last one you were excited about. Klinsmann in the 90s?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Van der Vaart's up there. But I'm talking about signing a world-class player when they are world-class. Not turning into world-class, signing a world-class player at the time.
I don't think that's a great point. I don't think there has been one, is there? Because Modric was a bit of a punt. Bale was a bit of a punt.
Yeah.
I can't think. I actually you've got me now. I can't think.
Davids was almost at the end of his time, wasn't he? But Edgar was a class player.
This is it. This is what was interesting about Conte's appointment for me. He was world class now. Not like Mourinho was world class or Pochettino might be world class. You're getting this guy at his best now.
Yeah.
So can I say Conte? Can I say
Absolutely.
Conte to that? Not in terms of player, but Conte's like, that was like signing one of the world's best players. You know, it's crazy. But Spurs did it. Spurs got it done. Yeah.
It's interesting because there are so many people who watch this show and they totally agree with me that when Pochettino left, we all thought that, you know, how can you ever feel like that about another manager? And I feel like that about Antonio Conte now. I feel so excited as a Spurs fan. Darren, do you agree? And while you're answering, I'm going to bring in a couple of very special guests who Ricky has invited in.
It had nothing to do with me.
We've got Anthony Costa with us.
Yeah!
And we've also got Leo the Lion with us.
Hey! Get it! I told you, baby! I told you, baby! Woo!
I didn't.
Woo! Look at that! I
How are
wasn't
you?
even ready for it to come on. I even fell asleep because I was so excited. I got knocked out, and I'm here. I popped the booze.
Yeah!
The celebration, Ricky.
Yeah,
Hey!
Rob, I can assure you this is the first.
Oh, mate, this is quite civil, I think, actually. I think this is good. Although Ricky's just gone from wine to beer, which we all know.
No,
No.
I don't even know what this is.
Champagne to beer, Rob. I don't want to
Champagne
correct you,
to
bro,
beer,
but-
sorry.
Let's come to
wins on
Anthony.
the old,
I've mixed rum and champagne in here.
Leo, shush.
Anthony, let's come to you. Now, of course, we spoke in the last couple of days. Every time we speak, you're always very nervous about games. You thought that Norwich even might get something and we might not get Champions League. How are you feeling now?
Buzzing, mate. I told you. What was there to be nervous about? I told Darren. I told Ricky. I've told them all. Even Leo. I was confident. Sorry, Rob. How you doing, mate? Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
Today, wow. You know the beautiful thing is, yeah, they won 5-1 and we won 5-0 and they still didn't get Champions League. Love that. Love that. All my Gooner mates, they are getting it from all barrels tonight. Proper. They are getting it.
Leo, how are you feeling?
I've literally just walked through the door as well. Sorry, Leo, go on.
Andy, what's up, baby?
What's up, love?
What's up, darling?
What's up, babe?
Chris, I told you we were going to do it. I told you top four, baby.
Actually, earlier on in the season, you were pretty negative on this show, I must say.
No, listen.
That's why you weren't invited on today's show, you see.
No, yeah, you see something now, yeah? I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to have that. You see, because when I was, you know, I'm a positive person, right? But the first time I came on this show, for some reason, I was just negative. I was like, what the hell is that? Even I was messaging Ricky during the week, cussing off the Spurs players. Isn't it, Ricky? I was like, what's wrong with your team? I was trying to disassociate myself with them because they were breaking my spirit in bits, right? But you know something? There was one thing that just kept the fire burning, just a little thing that kept the fire burning in my spirit. And do you know what that was? That was this guy, the serial winner.
The serial winner.
Him. He was the only spark. He was the only spark that kept it there, despite everyone else. I was like, but you know what? We have this guy, and he's not going to allow these chumps to bring down his legacy of being a champion. He's not going to allow these bums to make... No. And what did he do? He turned them around. Got to turn around. That's what he did. This is what he did. Listen, look at the stats right now. Listen, I was checking it out today, Chris. Tottenham are practically like third from Man City and Liverpool on things like, for example, clean sheets with Lloris, right? Form, we're third to Liverpool and Man City. Are you serious? Where were we when Conte started off? We were like 8th or something like that. The form that he's got Spurs in, it's like championship form. It's incredible. And just imagine now we've got top 4, what that means this summer, the players that we're going to sign. When he goes into that boardroom meeting next week or whenever it is, he's going to be like this. He's going to bring out his cigar. Like,
and rightly so.
You know what I'm saying? And how can Levy not back that after this?
Yeah.
There is no way. Listen, let me tell all the Spurs fans, Levy is backing Conte. Don't worry about it. It's done. The players,
let's see, man.
It's done. No, there's no let's see. Anthony, Anthony, listen. Right, I was. Listen, Anthony, I was the negative person in here. Even though I'm not a negative person, but Chris has made me negative. I was the negative person.
In fairness, every time you come on, it was a really poor game. So
did Leo come on to Borough?
You talk about me, not me, Chris. I've never come when we've lost. No,
have you?
No, Anthony, you're the negative one, right? You were the negative one. I watched you last week. And you didn't even want to. You were Mr. Sit on the fence and let's see what's going to happen.
Leo, you're telling me, yeah, over the years, you was properly confident we was going to finish 4th. Seriously, be honest. Before the North London derby.
I knew. I said it on Chris's show that we were going to finish 4th. Even when we lost against Burnley, I still said. I'm being serious. Even when we lost, really? Listen, rewind the tape. Rewind the tape. Go and rewind the tape. Go and rewind the tape, and you'll see. Listen, even despite I was at the Burnley game when we lost, right? And it was just one of those games. It was just one of those games that, you know, but I knew, listen, we have the serial winner. You got to understand, this summer is going to be different. This Spurs is a different Spurs team.
This summer's big. Yeah, this summer's big. I think I was listening to Rob, what you were saying. I completely get what you were saying, Rob. I think we do need experience to come in now to start kicking on for next season. I don't want to be seeing, they're going to be good in, as Darren and Ricky always hear me say, but they're going to be good in 2026. Yeah, things like that. I'm not interested in that. I want players to come in now because we've got Champions League and we do need a squad. But some of this current squad do need to go as well. That's my opinion. What do you boys think?
And who are those on that? It's in Conte we trust. And the reason why I say that, Ricky said this a number of times, I'm going to use the passage because when you look at Conte's signings over his managerial career, we've just alluded to it earlier, he doesn't care about age.
Exactly.
He gets the player that fits the mold of what he needs. Like, I read an interview that he said when he was livid with Inter, when he wanted Giroud. And there was like, he passed his best, and he's like, no, he's the one I want because I know what I can do with him. The attributes that he has, he fits the missing bit that I need. And I think that's why this meeting is going to be pivotal for what we're saying, because I think that Conte, Paratici, their bond, they're going to have to be so woven together with that plan. Because if Levy sees any bit that he doesn't agree with, he's going to push back on it because he's the business. And I think that is what has made our stadium great, our training ground great, the facilities that we have, the brand great, because Levy's a fantastic businessman. Now we need the business on the pitch to be done by these two individuals. Levy's got to hand over the credit card and go, you man, do you. I'm going to sit back and put full trust in you. And if that happens, what a summer it could be. And Rob's right, it's not going to be a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 clear out. But what it's going to be is them getting who they want. We've had signings brought in at Spurs and we go, who sanctioned that? Who wanted that? And we're trying to make it work. These signings have got to be full Paratici, Conte, and then happy days. Happy days.
It's got to be done early as well, Dow, innit? It's got to be done early.
Absolutely.
Get your stuff, get your boys in now. Yeah.
Well, Paratici has already proven it, especially with Conte, when we look at that January transfer window.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all said it at some point or another, but and Chris, you know the prices. What is it? Ndombele and Lo Celso, two of our most expensive signings that we allowed to go out on loan. That's not a Levy move. That 100 million combined, that's not a Levy move. There's no way. We all know that Levy wants to get some profit on his investment at every single time. Do you know what I mean? But we saw that they paid up in the summer. We saw that they paid up Serge Aurier's contract because they wanted a new right back in at the time. They paid it up. They didn't get no money for him, but got him off the wage bill. Then they got rid of Delhi for no money, 0 pence, right? Until he gets 20 league games or something, 0 pence is coming to us. He then got rid of our two biggest signings. Now, Hill, I've got a feeling in my soul that he will come back. I don't know whether it's this season, but he will definitely come back at some point. I think he's going to go. I believe he should go on loan to a championship side or or a newly promoted side to build up his strength, because he's already working the plan out in Spain. He's already building up his strength and his physicality out in Spain, so that when he comes back, he can deal with the matter. He can deal with the Premiership, and he can deal with what's being put forward to him and the defenders on him, left, right, and centre. But that January period and the fact that Levy sanctioned those 4 to go out and only brought in 2. So if you can only bring in 2 and transform the side, what happens when Conte says, I want this and that, and Paratici is like, all right, I got you, bro. Let's just hypothetically think about Kostic on the left wing back and Jed Spence on the right wing back. Now, 2 different ages, but very good abilities. Do you know what I mean? Very good. Like, they would fit Conte's system left, right, and centre. And that could transform us as well, I mean, and go on to a next level.
I've banged the Jed Spence jump for a long time. And I said to you, Dal, didn't I, last week on Chris's show? I think under Conte, that type of player would thrive 100%. 100%. He's young, he's energetic, he's athletic, and he can put a ball in the box. Do you know what I mean? So listen, let's see what happens, man.
We'll finish the show with potential incomings and outgoings, but I just wanted to talk a little bit before that about the most improved player and your moment of this Premier League season. Now, this is my moment of the Premier League season.
Madison, 15 minutes to play. Højbjerg hooks it forward. Doherty in behind. Bergwijn, they've got it! Stephen Bergwijn! 2-2 into the final moments. The substitute comes to Spurs' rescue. Kane, surely not another twist. Good ball from Kane. Bergwijn is in. Is he going to win the game? He is! Stephen Bergwijn! I don't believe it! That is incredible! The Flying Dutchman! 2 late goals!
Oh, Rob, what a moment!
Yeah, no, it was ridiculous, wasn't it? Really. And now you look, every point was vital. Spurs needed every single point basically to get Champions League.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable. And I don't know what's going to happen with Stevie Bergwijn. I suspect he might not stick about because he'll want to play. You know, he wants to play football, doesn't he? I think Conte would happily have him in the squad, but I think he's like, I've been like this for 2 years, I need to play. But that moment was just unrivaled and probably as close to Ajax as we've seen, isn't it? In terms of just what? What was that? Yeah. It was just, it was special, really special.
Yeah, 25 games for Bergwijn, 21 from the sub bench, 3 goals. I would expect him to move on as well, Rob. But you know, talking about moments of the season, is that up there for you? Is that your best moment of this Premier League season for you?
Probably, yeah. But I mean, it's really hard to look past the North London derby and what a special night that was for a myriad of reasons. Like, not only the way the first half panned out and how it changed the whole context of top 4. It was just such a special game. And it probably, before Bergwijn, it was probably Son against City, and then it was probably Bergwijn, and then I don't know, maybe Kane second. Kane second against Arsenal, probably. Yeah.
Ricky, what about your favourite moment of the season?
What the fuck?
What is that? What happened?
Leo.
What's that about? I missed
What
that.
happened?
What happened, Steve?
Leo, it's the funniest story.
What happened? Tell me, someone.
What? No,
He's gone.
So go on,
No,
Chris.
oh.
So Ricky and Chris were going to meet at Watford, Watford Spurs.
What again? Right.
Yeah, listen. Did you know the story?
No, is this go on, you tell me, go on.
So Ricky turns up at White Hart Lane, walking down the high road, whistling away, talking to himself, all getting all excited for the game. And Chris calls Ricky, and Ricky answers the phone and says, "Yo, bro, yeah, man, I'm in the shop. I'm in the Spurs shop." And Chris says, "What? The Watford Spurs shop?" And Chris started laughing. So it turns out Ricky went to the Spurs ground because he thought Spurs were playing Watford.
Do you know, he's always mucking about, and I genuinely thought that he was in the Watford shop, and I thought, what on earth's he in the Watford shop? What's he buying in there? Seriously.
Ricky, that's the story of the season, bro.
Bro,
That is the best.
Nobody will let it go. Not only did I hear you drop it when we were speaking about Blue, when you and Darren and Chris were speaking about Blue and the tour. Not only did you drop it then, but I heard Chris drop it today in the before the match, the pre-Spurs chat. He dropped it again about Satnav. I'm like, is he all right? It's like, what's going on here? But no one will let this.
You know how much I love you, Rick. You know how much I love you, mate. Right? Listen, you're the one. Bro, you're the one that Instagrammed the photo.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't.
Oh, did you?
Chris, I sent it. Listen, I sent that picture to Chris going, mate, I'm at White Hart Lane. Like, to let him know that I was up and about and I was, like I wasn't sleeping at home. Do you know? I wasn't making an excuse. I was actually at White Hart Lane. So I took that picture and I sent it to him. And then when I was speaking to him, he was like, I'm gonna Insta this. And I'm like, nah, Chris, you don't have to do that, bruv. Listen, I didn't even finish the sentence. By the time I finished the sentence, he was already online. I'm like, are you for real? Are you guys? Oh my gosh. I'm so glad Watford have gone down, let me tell you.
Rick, so what was your favourite moment of the season?
My favourite moment of the season. Do you know what? The North London derby was next level. The Liverpool game was next level. The Man City Kane last-minute winner, next level. Bergie, your moment, next level. But today, to get over the line today in the way that we did with 5 goals, with Sonny getting the golden boot, with Bentancur playing out of his skin, with Højbjerg the warrior, I'm like just blown away by today. And the fact that we've secured that full spot. The fact that we had songs being sung about us getting battered every single week at the beginning of this season. Do you know what I mean? But pre-Christmas, West Ham, they were high. You know, the Gooners, they were high. Listen, we was getting that song, Chelsea, they were high. Even we was getting that song sung about us at the darts. It wasn't at the football, at the darts they were singing Spurs get battered. And look at us now, bruv. Look at us now. Today, there was so many people that believed that Pookie was going to score a hat-trick and put us under. They believed that the Spursy banana skin was going to come out and we was going to slip up again. But look at us today. Are you for real, bruv? Look at us today. Top bloody well 4. Top 4, bruv. We dealt with that and there's not one pundit out there that predicted us to be in top 4. In fact, if you would have suggested that we was in top 4, they would have laughed at you, bruv. They would have laughed at you because they knew how far we had sunk. But right now, we are back. So today, having a confirmation that we are back, having a confirmation that everyone should be scared of us by the time we come back to the beginning of the next season. Are you for real? The fact that we've got a world-class manager, Chris, like you say every single time, and I love that about you as well. I've got to say, the Sky Sports interview before the North London derby, when you was on with Robbie and they were talking about managers between Arteta and Conte, and Robbie's going crazy. He's waxing lyrical about Arteta. And Chris just comes in with, yeah, but we got a world-class manager. I was cracking up.
No,
I was dying.
We've got a world-class manager in Antonio Conte, and you've got Mikel Arteta. That's what I said. And also, we've got this. Leo, what's your favourite moment of the season?
Mate, you know what? I was gonna say the Man City game, Bergwijn. Then I was thought, you know what? I'm gonna say the Kane header. But listen, Champagne Ricky is right. It has to be the day. It has to be for me because do you know the abuse I was getting from Arsenal fans? Do you know in my WhatsApp group the abuse these Gunners were giving? Even when we battered them 3-0, they were still saying, "Oh, we're still above you. Yeah, we still got this." They were giving me the abuse, but you know what? I said no. I believe we're going to get top 4, and I started my abuse to Arsenal. I took a punt. I know Anthony doesn't like to do it, but I took a punt. I started my abuse before the Arsenal game. I said, "You lot are rubbish. You're going to get battered, and we're going to get top 4." Even though that I had doubts, but you know, I had that Conte thing there. Right? I said, you know what? I'm going to go out on the limb, and I'm going to start my abuse then, because I knew that if we did get the top 4, I'd have a whole 2 weeks of beautiful abuse to the Gunners. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I did it, and we did it. So listen, Chris, today is the day of the season where we get Champions League, where Son gets his golden boot. Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you mad?
Come on.
Where we now have an amazing, listen, we have an amazing summer to look forward to. Because when I open the Instagram or when I look at the back pages of the papers and it shows who we're linked to, I'm just going to be like, yeah, we're in a different market to a team that's in Europa. We're dealing with the big players now. We can now attack. We can attack players that we want because we have Conte, and they'll come because of him. They'll come because of the job that he's done. The fact that he took Spurs from mid-table where we were to where we are now. They can see how he's improved players. What do you think he's going to do? What's Anthony doing? Don't look at that. What is that, mate? What is that? Listen, Chris, take him off. Take him off. Hook him off. Sub him. Sub. Where's my board?
And what's your favourite memory of the season? Or favourite moment?
I think the favourite moment for me would be like us against NS Mura. That was a really good time. That was
Oh, come on.
NS Mura, yeah.
Do you know?
Should I tell you? Should I tell you?
I went to every single one of those away games in the Europa Conference League and still didn't see us win.
Chris, should I tell you a defining moment of our season? Bergwijn Leicester is definitely up there for me. But you're going to laugh and I'm going to get slaughtered for this, but it's the 3-0 loss against Man United.
Yeah.
That was the game.
Darren said that earlier. He said it earlier.
Oh, sorry, brother.
Yeah, but how was that the game that made you...
Hold on.
No, come on.
Leo,
just trying it.
Leo, listen. That was the game.
I know where you're coming from.
I get what you're saying.
It turned. And then I was watching the game. I switched it off and I went, I'm sorry, if nothing changes, we are going to be properly mid-table this season. And obviously, the main man came in and has turned it around. And look where we are today. So you've got to sometimes take a loss on the chin and go, maybe that was the moment where, the board and Levy thought we've got to do something here. Because I dread to think where we would be if Nuno was still in charge. No disrespect to the man, but I dread to think.
I'm sure Ricky and Darren will agree with me that the phone calls have got better since Antonio Conte has arrived.
Absolutely,
with you, Ant.
bruv.
Yeah, 100%. I still have my little moments. I still have my moments, don't I, boys?
Absolutely. Darren,
You? And no, bruv. You told us from beginning of the season we're finishing top 4. You said that from early.
I know.
Ain't it Winks the most improved player or something?
So,
wasn't that your vote?
What? I can't hear you. What?
Yeah, surely the goal of the season for you, Ant, is Harry Winks against Morecambe, no?
Oh, that's up there. Definitely up there. I think for me, the goal of the season, wow. I think it's Sonny's against Leicester. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Fantastic.
I said that on Sky Sports the other day. Yeah, it's brilliant. I love it.
Darren, what about you? Your favourite moment?
I touched on this earlier, and I'm in the same place as Anne. That Man United game, El Sachico, because when you look back at our season, that is that's the pivotal moment. Because if we look at where Spurs were, at the start of the season, we were linked with Conte. and we didn't make the move. He was available then. We didn't make the move. For whatever reason, the board decided that was not the direction they wanted to go in. But after El Sakiko, they realized that was the option we had to do. That was the change in gear that we needed. And I'm hoping that as we go forward in this legacy, we will then, as Ant just said there, look back at that turning point and go, that appointment changed the way Spurs have been going forward. And then we can really enjoy this new look Spurs and this new era that we are potentially embarking on. Because right now, I know, Leo, you peaked and you went straight in on the Arsenal fans. I held off, and I didn't hold off through fear. I held off because I always believed we would get in top four. I held off because it was sweeter. It was sweeter to win the derby and say nothing.
Sweat.
And just let them get themselves angry, waiting for my message to tell me the reply that I know they're going to say, going, you ain't got top four yet. So I waited. And now today, no one's answering their phone. And guess what? If you look on my Twitter, I posted something in August. There's a video that I've reposted for you, reminding you that when you're in need, call me. When you need a friend, call me, because I know you're in pain right now. And that pain ain't going away, because we're going to be inflicting pain for a while until the new season starts. I'm going to be here waiting for you. So Arsenal fans, don't run. Don't run. I'm here, babies. I'm here. Don't run.
Dow, they've been running since December, bruv. Let's not. Don't tell them
Rick,
to don't
I
run.
told them.
They've been running since December. They're long distance 1,500 meter runners, bruv. Like, don't do it to them. Don't do it to them.
Rob, let's come to you. You mentioned earlier about Antonio Conte has improved so many players within this squad. Who has he improved the most for you?
Eric Dyer. I think Eric Dyer had sort of hit a moment with him where I thought, oh, maybe he needs to move on. That maybe this isn't going to happen here. Maybe he could rebuild his career as a centre-back, say for Aston Villa or that kind of level of club, and then come back and be a proper England player again. I just felt like it just wasn't happening for him. Too many individual errors. He seemed uncertain in certain situations. We were talking about this earlier, me, Darren and Ricky. But then I just feel like when Conte said you can be the best in your position in Europe as one of the middle of the back three, I think Conte meant it. And I think Dyer believed him. And then he's just been flawless. And like I was saying earlier, I'd be staggered if he wasn't in the England squad now, particularly given the drop-off of someone like Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
You know, if I was scared now and you're looking to play a back three like he has done, I'd have Eric Dyer as the guy in the heart of it, because I don't think England aren't blessed at centre-back, are they? I feel like he's the best option, and I think he's been tremendous. And I normally do a thing at Twitter at the end of the season, like my players of the season, like top 5. I'd probably have Eric Dyer above Kane and below Son. I think he's been that good. And I know Romero's been transformative in that back three as well. But I think what he's done with Eric Dyer is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Because say you'd sell Eric Dyer, at the time, what would you get for Eric? 10, 15 million? Gave Dele away for nothing. You know, and he's turning back into one of the best around. He feels like proper centre-back. Proper centre-back to me. Yeah,
I totally agree. Ricky?
I mean, I agree with Rob there about Dyer right there. I mean, how much that guy has transformed and how he's adapted to Conte's tactics and how he's, you know, not only battled in the Premiership, but battled the Spurs fans. And I don't mean that in a physical way, but I mean, you know, like there's been a lot of criticism of him over the years. Even when he went into centre-back, even from myself, I felt that the back of his head, we saw the back of his head way too much, and we saw the goal, our own goal, bulging way too much with him in the middle. But he learned from it, and he's taking it on. And, you know, Dyer's next level. But for me, the player of the season, the most improved player of the season, I think it has to be Davies, because Davies wasn't even getting a look in before Conte turned up. He wasn't. Look, we spoke about Nuno, Rob and Darren earlier. We spoke about Nuno being in charge, and speaking about the back three system. He always had Davies there if he wanted a left centre back to put, you know, with Dyer and Sanchez if he wanted, but he chose not to. But as soon as Conte turned up, and his first game, I'm lucky enough to say that I was there. It was a Europa Conference game, thanks to the old man in the corner there, old CC. No, but to see Davies start first game, and all of us, I think every Tottenham fan was kind of squinting, going, "What? All right, Davies." A lot of us know that Davies can play that position, but we were still squinting and kind of going, "Is he going to be?" But the way that his performances have changed from that moment in time where Conte turned up to this moment right here, where against Liverpool he was blocking shots left, right, and centre. Where he nearly scored today. He's not only been solid, but he's been dynamic. You know, he's not only been able to play at left centre back, but when a right wing back has gone off, Davies has been able to go to left wing back so that Sessegnon can go to right wing back. And then we can keep the same system. Do you know what I mean? So I think for me, Davies, he's been the most improved player.
He's only Ricky. He's only failed to start. He started 27 of Conte's 28 Premier League games. He started, only missed one. That's how important he's been.
And look at the substitutions as well in the last couple of games. So against the Gooners, he got the yellow card, and not only was he super disciplined, unlike Holding, but he was super disciplined, super on it, and still being dynamic within his role. And then we brought him off at a pivotal time, a great time, and then brought Rodon on. Okay, cool. You're on for the last 15, but we took David. There's been times that we've taken him off at the right times because we need to keep him. He's become important. He's become very important to the system that Conte's playing. The only left-sided defender that we have, he's become super important to the balance that we provide on the field and going forward and in defense. So for me, Davies has been the most improved player by far. And now if we were to put him on the transfer list, I'd be upset. He needs to at least be in the squad. Do you know what I mean? He has to be.
That fantastic block at Anfield as well, Rick. Yeah.
Bro,
Leo, let's come to you. Same question.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's going to be down to those two guys, Dyer and Davies, for sure. You know, the thing about Dyer is, like, we know with the back three that we have now, like, we've not been conceding goals. I think, you know, in the past, you know, several games, we've just been keeping clean sheets. You know, it's not like the Spurs where it's like 4-2, 3-2. We're doing like 2-0, 1-0, 4-0, 5-0. I mean, it's beautiful. And the thing about it is, like, even, you know, sometimes the fact that you don't notice a player, but they're always playing and you're getting good results. Like I see that with Dyer, is that he's not, you know, obviously with Davies, you see Davies with the last ditch tackles and stuff like that, which is fantastic. You see Romero doing his skills and all that sort of stuff. But with Dyer, it's like, it's just like a solid performance. It's like, there's no mistakes. Whereas, like, you know, before earlier, there was like back passes that went astray. It's just solid performance. He's getting his head to everything. When crosses are coming in, he's getting his heads to it. He's just doing the simple thing. And we just progressing. Just every game, it's like clean sheets. It's like, I can't even remember the last time we really conceded where I'm like, oh, because where we even felt we were going to concede. Because the whole defense is like a unit. The whole team's a unit. So for me, Dyer is I would say one of the most improved players. And like what Rob and Ricky said, Davies as well, because again, at the beginning of the season, I was thinking definitely he's the first one to go, like, for sure. Like him, you know, I was rattling off names. They're going. But again, it's because we have this guy that he's able to see something in players that obviously we might not see, but bring that out and then give them the confidence for them to go out and do what they're doing. Even players like Sanchez, I'm not even giving abuse to anymore. Like, you know what I felt about him. Even Royale is even improving in the last games that we've been playing. So right now, listen, if Conte was to say, Leo, I want to take your mum at right back, I'd be like, mate, you know, like, I can, whatever, yeah, I can, you know, whatever you want to do, mate. Listen, I trust in you. So, because, you know, that's literally.
Who invited these two on?
It had nothing to do with me. It was all Darren. It was Darren's fault. It had nothing to do with me. I was just concentrating on this show, and then something happened. But it had nothing to do with me, though, Chris. It's got nothing to do.
What are you talking about? But you know it's true. So that's what it is. That's what it is. So I'll say, yeah, Davies and Dyer for me, the most improved players.
Anthony, would you go along with that?
100%. Yeah, I said Dyer last week, and I'm going to stick with Dyer. I think one thing for Dyer for sure this season, he's matured. He's maturing into a very good, knowledgeable centre half. Reads the game well, can pass the ball now. Whereas before, he always had a mistake in him. And as Leo just said now, alluded to, he's not done a lot this season where you think, oh, why is he doing that? He's been consistently good this season. And if Conte can get the best out of Dyer, then, wow, what a manager. Do you know what I mean? So, Davis as well. Davis does his job. I think he's matured as well. He's maturing. But Dyer, for me, has gone from, 0 to 100 in 9 months. So, long may that continue. And I want him to do well next season as well.
Can I just say one thing? Even Mourinho, last season, when Mourinho especially praised Dyer, when Dyer, he's like, I want to put Dyer in the centre back. And even though I was like, Dyer at centre back. But Mourinho said that Dyer had something in him and he could be truly one of the best in that position. Again, we're talking about, serial winners in management saying that about a player. You have to say, well, they obviously see something about him. And it's proven true because he's formidable and for sure he has to get into the England team. All
these managers have loved Dyer, though. Darren, is it Dyer or Davis for you, or another player?
No, for me, it's Ben Davis, but I've said that a number of times just for what he's done. However, because everyone's covered that, I just want to do an honourable shout out to Davinson Sanchez because to come in this last patch of the season when it's pressure games, North London derby onwards, you just see what Conte is doing on the training field with these individuals because his composure, his passing ability has improved. His concentration on the pitch has improved. It just shows you the kind of manager we have. So, yeah, the guys have covered exactly who I picked as our most improved. But just an honourable shout-out to Davidson coming in this last period and being immense.
Before we move on, just while we're on the subject, I remember my very first Spurs talk, right? And it was with Anthony Costa and Richard Crackers, right? And Poch is in charge, and we were speaking about Poch, and we were speaking about, how good he is or how he's improved. And the biggest improvement for me at that point was Moussa Dembele. Before Pochettino turned up, Moussa Dembele, however gifted he was very much like a headless chicken. There's very many times that he ran into players, and we didn't know what position he played. Was he midfield? Was he up front? Was he number 10? There was many things that was happening with Moussa Dembele, but as soon as Poch got hold of him, I was like, wow. He not only has he given him direction, he's given him purpose, right? And he's believed in his ability. And we know with everybody spoken about who's played with Moussa Dembele, everyone's spoken about how he's the most creative and he's the most skillful and he's the best player they've ever played with in training. But we wasn't seeing it at Spurs. Only until Poch turned up. And I said to Costa and Crackers at that time, that's the measure of a manager, when you can take a player that is a bit in the doldrums, but has everything to give and turn him into the player that he then became. It's the same what's happening with Conte right now with the players that we're speaking about in Dyer and Davies and in Emerson and Sessegnon and Doherty. Doherty was way out of left field. And we'll speak about those that are incoming and outgoings, in a moment. But the way that Conte has improved the players in the squad that we have had, from Titanic FC to Phoenix FC, do me a favor. This guy is world class. This guy is doing tremendous work, and if that's an example, if Dyer and Davies are an example of his work, I'm super excited to see what comes next. Let me tell you.
Can I also touch upon another thing, lads, and people listening and watching? One thing Antonio's done, us as a fan base, we've come together.
Yeah.
Okay. When Mourinho got appointed, I personally was excited. Again, serial winner, blah, blah. Let's see what he's got to do with Tottenham. And Darren, to the right of me, we had a big old chat. Darren and I agreed with each other. But myself and Ricky had a full-on argument, full-on debate argument. And it got messy, not in a horrible way, but it got really, really, really argumentative.
That was Mourinho, Costa.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I just said.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's what I just said. But what
I've got drunk heroes.
Yeah, of course you have. I think what Antonio's done is he's brought the fan base together, and I, for one, am absolutely loving what's going on because it can only get better. If you back the manager, you give him the players he wants. If it works, it's gonna be electric. It really, really is, and I'm excited.
And the thing is, Anne, if you're happy, then it must be good. It really must.
Costa's happy. It's all good.
And do you think you ever say on this show that the trophies are coming? Go on.
Go on.
Rich,
Come on.
Rich, you know what I'm like, mate. The trophies are always coming. Do you know what I mean? So, I listen. We're old school Spurs fans from the '90s, and we've lived through a lot of rubbish. So this season has been absolutely phenomenal, and long may it continue. And I can't wait. I really, really can't wait, man. What's around the corner? But it's just lovely that all the Spurs fans are just together as one. So good to see.
Yeah. Well, lastly, I'm very conscious of time. We've been talking for nearly 2 hours. Let's talk about the transfer window.
Finish fourth. Oh, we did. Sorry.
The amount of time I've asked that question. Yeah, this season. Rob, let's start with you. Transfer window. Who do you think will leave in the summer? What players do you think Antonio Conte and Fabio Paratici will be targeting in the summer positions? Feel free to name players. If you don't want to name players, that's fine. Give us some numbers, what you think is going to happen, and what would please you as a Spurs fan to happen.
I think it'll be like 4 first-team players out and 5-ish in. I reckon they'll do a couple of smart free transfers. Paratici was a master of that at Juve, and I think the club should still be knocking around Eriksen. You know, I think that should still be a target. I don't see that as harping back to a glory era and trying to like recreate that. I think it's just he's worked with Conte before. He knows the club. He looks like he's back to his best. Brentford players are saying he's been their player of the season, even though he's been half the year. It makes sense to me, and it gives Spurs another dynamic. Filip Kostic would be one. You know, I cover the Bundesliga, and I've seen so much of him over the past few years. He tried to get out of the club last summer and fell out with them, and then ended up staying and has had great success. He looks made for the system. He's just up and down, up and down, up and down all day long, and he's got unbelievable service. Like Harry Kane would love that service. And then I think a backup striker, if they can sign someone like Lautaro Martinez, that's a calibre striker that you have to go for, not a backup kind of striker for Kane, that kind of calibre. Another centre-back from Serie A, probably to replace Ben Davies, actually, in that back three. Not to sell Ben Davies, but you probably could upgrade in that position. And then another centre midfielder, someone of Bentancur's quality. So I think it's a lot of money. That's probably like 150, blah, blah, blah. And then, but some of the players that they've signed, maybe Ndombele, you just have to cut your losses, sell him for 15, 20 if he's not got a place around the club. I think he's been on the bench for Leon a bit, hasn't he, as well? So I think Ndombele will go. I think Winks might want football. I think Bergwijn might want football. And then, given you want wing backs, I think 1 or 2 have to go out. Which 2, I don't know. And given, I don't know, out of the 4, I don't know who stays now. I'd say Sessegnon. I think he'd like to have Sessegnon around. And then Emerson or Matt Doherty. I'm not sure.
Rob, do you think it's realistic that Eriksen could come back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Why not? What's the barrier? That he's just had such a good time at Brentford?
Where would he fit in? Whose position would he take?
Doesn't matter about position.
I think part of the thing at the minute is that the irony is now when you play Spurs, you know what the system's going to be. It's 3-4-3, and that there's been Conte did play 4 at the back a couple of times this season, but if you have Eriksen, you can go 3-4-1-2 or whatever it might be. He could play in the front 3. He's not going to play in the midfield 2 with Højbjerg and Bentancur. But it's where Eriksen sees his career now. Does he see himself as starting 50 games a season? If so, it wouldn't be the right move for him. But if he sees himself starting 25, 30 and playing in the Champions League, being part of Conte's thing again, I think it does. I think it does make sense. And it isn't inconceivable he plays in the front 3 wide, just not doing what Son does, just doing something else.
Rob, lastly for you, do you see the likes of Galini and Joe Rodon, Harry Winks, Stephen Bergwijn? Do you see the likes of them leaving?
I imagine Joe will go, wouldn't he? I think some of these are like they just need football. So I imagine I'd be surprised if Galini, unless they just renewed the loan, he seems very popular. You don't need your backup keeper too much. But then there's a lot of talk about like Sam Johnston, isn't there? And Fraser Forster, is that another one? As a backup. Yeah. So then I don't know if you pay the loan fee for Cowlin. I can't see that happening. And then Joe Rodon probably just needs to play football. And Conte said he was Dyer's backup, but then when Dyer was injured, Rodon didn't come in. He reshuffled the back three. So I imagine he likes Rodon, and he's been so impressed with his commitment in training. I think that's been apparent. But he's played about 20 minutes of Premier League football since the 3-0 loss at Palace. So I don't think he's part of Conte's plans, I imagine.
Well, he's only had 3 sub appearances all season in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 for Nuno and 2 for Conte, and they've come in the past 10 days. 1 to rest Davis, as Ricky was saying. So, I'd be surprised if Joe Rodon's still there next season.
Ricky, let's come to you. I'm expecting a huge summer. I really am hoping for a huge summer as well. And as I said earlier about world-class players, wouldn't it be nice if we could sign a world-class player this summer?
Yeah, but I mean, absolutely, it'd be phenomenal. But it's like it's not really about that. It's whatever Conte wants. In Conte, we trust. So whatever Conte wants, whatever Conte needs. We've spoken about the wing backs, right? So for me, a lot of Spurs fans, and I love this, but a lot of Spurs fans are like getting hyped over Doherty and what Doherty done when he started to find form. But if we really look at what that is, he only found form for 5-6 games or whatever the case may be before he got injured. He only turned up this end of the year. He's already had a season and a half. Do you know what I mean? But he only turned up really and started to give real performances from January onwards. Do you know what I mean? Until he got injured. That's when we saw a change in him. I think we've seen the ceiling of what Doherty can bring, plus with his age. So for me, the fact that he's shown a turn of form means that we can ask 8 to 10 million for him and get some money in. And I foresee some teams being interested in him. If I had to choose between Emerson and Doherty right now, to be fair, I would choose Royale. Reason being is his age. We haven't seen his ceiling. We've seen him step up when the responsibility has been put on his shoulders, when there's been nobody to kind of give him a break or to take responsibility off of him. The responsibility has been on him. And the fact that he's been solid and the fact that he's been trying, and Conte, is Chris gone? Conte has kind of simplified his game so that we can get the best out of Royale. If we look at Sessegnon, we all know that Conte loves off Sessegnon because he keeps making it apparent. So, me personally, I really like Reguilon. I think that there's, a high ceiling for him. I think he's adapting to a left wing back role instead of a left back role. But if we can get 40 million in for him and get Kostic or get Sosa, Rob, I'd love you to talk about Sosa, the young Croatian guy as well at some point, because, you know, he's got a dynamite cross on him. But if we could get somebody like that to come in, it totally changes our game. Weston McKennie, another kind of another Juventus player, but if you see how well that Weston McKennie plays box to box, and how Juventus's season changed when he got injured, especially within the Champions League. They got knocked out by Villarreal in the Champions League. And that a big reason of that was because Weston McKennie wasn't there controlling the midfield. And I think he is a very good player that could come in as a midfielder in replace of someone like Winks or Lo Celso or someone else. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think
you're right. I think the 4 will be Højbjerg, Bentancur, Skip. And then
Skip, and then one more.
And then one other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying to keep or to get rid of? Is that what you're saying? To keep?
Say it again.
Are you saying to keep? What are you saying those guys to stay?
Bentancur, Højbjerg, and Skip to keep.
Right.
Winks to go, but like another midfielder, a bit of a dynamic box-to-boxer. I think McKennie could work in as that full central midfielder. And then if we bring in someone like Eriksen, who, like Rob was saying there earlier, who we all know what he brings to the table, but on a free transfer, on somebody that's got a second chance in life, on somebody who's showing tremendous form for Brentford, on somebody that's showing a corner and a free kick that can pass the first man, it could change the options that Conte has. when he's going from a back three to maybe a back four, or maybe he's going from a 2 in midfield to a 3 in midfield, it gives him options. Do you know what I mean? So him on a free would be tremendous. And then if we look at our front three today were devastating. Kulu 2, Sonny 2, Kane 1. So whoever comes into this front three has got to be on that level. Has got to be on par with them. And whoever that is, I'm happy with. But the biggest areas is that left centre back, the wing backs, and that other midfielder is the essentials for me right now.
I agree with you. I think definitely the wing backs for sure. I think that's where, because we've got into so many great opportunities, and with just the final ball has been dreadful. You know, especially coming down like either with Royale or whoever's on the left hand side. It's like we get into. There's so much space, and it's just a case of whether we beat the man or we're able to whip the cross in, but we get into those spaces and it's just dead balls. So I know that if we had someone that could proper deliver those balls in those areas, we would probably been made top 4 by now already. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then with the reserve goalkeeper right here, DJBP has said Nick Pope over Fraser Forster. And let me just address this. Darren is the goalkeeping expert, right? So I know he watches goalkeepers and defenders. So he can give some insight in a moment. But let me just address this for a second. Nick Pope is going to cost money. Simple. Let me just keep it simple.
How much you reckon?
It don't matter. Whatever it is, it gets taken out of the midfielder, the wing back, or the striker budget. Do you understand what I'm saying? So right now,
Burnley are not going to
go on.
Burnley just been relegated. So they're going to want to sell, but they're not going to want silly money.
But even if it's 15, 20 million, bro, that's 15 and 20 million that has been taken out of other areas. And
you're saying that basically Lloris, you're saying that Lloris is going to be here then? Because if Lloris goes... that's what you're saying.
Lloris has signed a new deal, and for me, Lloris is still the number 1. They're looking for a number 2. And if we could get somebody in that could start as a number 2 and progress to a number 1, then fantastic. But from what the reports we're seeing, and we have to take them with a punch of salt, because Paratici, when he deals in transfers, he deals with 8 people in the same position. He will secure 6 of them and he will choose 1 of them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's always going to be reports. So Nick Pope is going to cost money. Fraser Forster is a free. Sam Johnson is a free. So as a backup number 2 keeper, I think we should be going for the frees. The same reason we're not going to spend money on Galini. How much will Galini cost? 13 to 15 mil? We're not going to be on that because of oh Shizer. 1 minute. Damn it. Press the button. That's Costa's fault. No, but we're not going to spend that money on a keeper where it can go in a different position right now. I think we can at least trust Lloris and a backup keeper of Forster's caliber, or Johnson. What's his name? Dal? What's the other one? West Brom goalkeeper. That were after Sam Johnston. Is it Johnston?
Yes, Sam Johnston. Yeah.
Johnston. All right. Sorry, the champs got to my brain. But either which one, both of those come in as a free and will do a decent job as a number 2. Nick Pope is going to cost money. He's 29, about to be 30. I know his prime years are coming, but I just think it's easier and it's better financially to go for somebody on a free as a number 2. And then we can actually concentrate on a real goalkeeper, a real number 1 next year. Do you know what I mean?
Boys, I'm going to chip off, man.
Are you done?
I was going to end the show there anyway, Ant. So thank you so much to all of you for coming on. Rob, I can't thank you for your time enough. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, at Rob T Daly on Twitter. And thanks for having me, Chris. Lovely to meet you all. I've been following your Natterins on Twitter for a while, so it's lovely to actually meet you all properly. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rob. And Ricky, I can't thank you enough for all of your time this season. I'm sure your answers get longer as these episodes go on.
Yeah, no, it does, bruv. especially when you got me drinking as well, especially on the celebration. But yes, no, listen, always an honor and a pleasure. I apologize for the chaos that Leo and Costa created. I thought it'd be a part. I thought it'd be a party atmosphere. That's why I sent the link. All right.
Well, it is. It's a party atmosphere, baby.
But no, I love it. Thank you, Chris, always for allowing this therapy session and this celebration to happen, man. It's always been an honor and a pleasure, and I look forward to next season. Thank you, bro.
Actually, before I say goodbye to everyone else, I just wanted to thank all of the viewers this season, because there have been over 10 million views throughout this season on this channel. So that is absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for all of your support. And also the audio versions, we've gone in the top 10 in a number of countries across Europe. Cyprus, we were #1 football podcast last week. So I can't thank you enough for all of your support. Leo, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for not inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Former singer with the streets. What are you up to at the moment?
Oh well, listen. Actually, I'm just starting. Well, I don't say starring, but I appear in a new BBC comedy called Here We Go. It's on BBC iPlayer right now. So check that out. I play what do I play? I play a headmaster. Yeah, I don't know. The rum's got to my head. But yeah, check that out. It's called Here We Go, which is great.
Here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go. And
Fabrizio Romano's words of transfers. Here we go. Hopefully it'll be a good summer for us. Anthony, of course, you're with Blue. When's the tour starting?
We start in December, so it's going to be good, man. And
I said
Ricky. No, yeah, Ricky's going to drive everyone. I'm going to.
Hey,
we'll never get there.
No.
Well, thank you so much for your time this season, man.
Oh, why you got to do me like that, man? Oh, come on.
And Darren, thanks so much for your time this season. You've been absolutely fantastic, and you've always stayed with me, being positive and saying that Tottenham will finish in the top 4.
Chris, is a beautiful place to be, and when it all materializes, we are the happiest too, because we dragged everyone with us, and then they can see our vision was good. So, gentlemen, it's been a joy and a pleasure always, and I look forward to a very good season coming up. Come on, you Spurs.
Rob, Ricky, Leo, Anthony, Darren, can't thank you enough, and look forward to next season already. Hopefully, Antonio Conte can produce a trophy, and we will all be smiling. And I won't have to keep saying the trophies are coming, because they will be delivered. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with this music. You know exactly what music I'm going to play. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on.